one of the first things you got to do is register your domain. So if you go over here on the left, you'll see domains. And what you'll do is you click the plus sign up here.
That's done on my side.
Oh, it is. Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, great. Yeah. So you put in your domain, then you go here and you get all the DNS information that you copy and paste into your DNS, and then you hit validate, and hopefully you get green check marks there, and you're done. Yep. You'll want to load your lists into the system. You already have some of those lists loaded into the old version, right?
I connect my Gmail account and I saw some activity, so I don't know if they import the contacts that way. So yeah, maybe that already has a bunch of emails there. I saw some activity, but
yeah, when you're connected with the email, your Gmail account, contacts in Google will be added to SalesNexus. But you can also just take a list, like a CSV file, and you go to contacts, and then you go up here to the top to the plus, and you click on CSV import, and here you'll just upload your CSV. Let me just pull one up so we can I can talk you through the next steps there. What it's doing is just looking at the data in the file and trying to match the columns in your file with the right fields in SalesNexus. And you'll see the result of that here in a second. Here we go. So you can see these are the columns in the file. And then here's the data that it's putting into those, or that's in those 5 columns, sorry. And then down here, you have the mapping that it's come up with. So you can see it's putting, first name goes in first name, last name to last name, company to company, job title, email, personal email. So it's done a pretty good job of finding the right fields. You can go and change these if you want, so you can go here and just find a different field, or just hit the X and leave it blank, and then it won't import that column at all. Let's just take those out. And also while we're looking at that, let's find a good example here. Maybe you don't have you don't have a field for how many employees that the company has. So you can go here in this little drop down, it says create new. And that will allow you to create a new field to map to that column. And then once you've got everything mapped the right way, you just hit import.
Okay.
And when you do that, it'll show you the status up here at the top, and then you'll have one thing to note there also is when it shows you the results, when it's finished importing your file, it'll give you an option to create a lookup from those contacts. And that can just be a quick and easy way to get them into a list so you can kind of scan through them and make sure everything looks right. So now you got your contacts in there, you got your domain registered. Now the next thing is we want to create some emails to send them. So you would go down here to templates, and here you can just go to plus and create a new template. So we'll give it a name. And you put in your subject line. And here you decide who you want it to be from. And here in this drop down, you'll be able to choose from any of the domains that you've registered. And then down below here, this is where you design the email. So you can go here to choose template, and that allows you to choose one of our pre-designed templates. or you can just start building from scratch. It's pretty easy. Over here on the right, you have all the different types of content. So I may want to first put an image at the top. So I just drag that over and it puts in an image block for me. And then I hit browse and I can select from images that I may have previously uploaded or go upload a different image from my local system. Let me see if I can find. This one's probably way too big, but that's okay. So I put in my image and then I can click on content again over here. And then I see these options and I drag over a text block and drop it right there. And now I can put in some text. And when you're working on the text, you see you get this little toolbar. So, you know, all of these tools are pretty standard, but the one thing to keep your eye on here is this merge tags option. So if I want this to merge in some specific information about my customer, so, you know, hi, and then I want to put in the first name. So I would go here, click that merge tags button and find the first name, and then it puts in the little tag for me. Welcome to my new company, and, you know, whatever other text you want to put in there. And then we go back to content and we can drag over a button. And then I can change it, sign up here, and then you would put your link to your whatever web page you want that button to take them to right there in the URL box right here. Mm-hmm. Then if you scroll down a little bit, you have the controls to be able to, you know, change the color and things like that. And then you just keep going. You know, I can go over here to content and add a video in, or that's really handy if you have videos. If you grab the URL from a YouTube video, for instance, you drag over that video block, hit enter URL, and you paste it right there, and it automatically puts in a nice little thumbnail for you with a little play button, and everything looks great, right? And then one other thing about the email design that some people don't quite find, but it's really handy. I can go here to rows. And so if I want to do two things side by side, like an image and some text next to it, then I have to use these rows. And you see the different kind of breakdowns. You can have 3 blocks in a row or 2 or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'll drag this one over. And see, now I have 2 different blocks, and then I can go back to content and say, okay, well, let's put text right here, and we'll put an image right there. And so now I can grab my logo, let's say, and then I put more text right here, right? Mm-hmm. So pretty simple. Couple other things while we're on this. Over here under under actions, I have preview. So you definitely want to do that. And you'll notice up here, you can preview it in mobile mode or iPad mode or desktop mode. So you can really see what it's going to look like on people's computers, or the mobile device is the most important, because that's where a lot of people are going to open your emails, and you just want to make sure it looks good there. Mm-hmm. And then I go up here to the top and I say save, just to save everything. Now we have a decision to make. We've created our email, and the question is, do we want to create an email that we're just going to send out to that list that we loaded in? Or are we going to set it up as an automated email that gets triggered when a lead comes in and that kind of thing? If up here, you see where it has the check mark. This is a templated campaign.
Mm-hmm.
That means that is a triggered campaign, would probably be a better way to say that. So if I uncheck that, now it's just an email that I can blast out to a whole list all at once. And you see this, the options here changed a little bit. I have now this segmentation. And basically these are all your saved lookups. So I can choose any saved lookup. And when I say send up here, it's going to send to that list of people. And I can, right here where it says when to send, I can decide either do it right away or on a specific date. I go here, I get the calendar, and I say, okay, tomorrow morning at, let's do 8 a.m. And if I say send, it's going to schedule that to go out tomorrow morning, and it's set it and forget it.
So I want to use this so people, when they complete the form, something starts sending, and I want to send a few emails. So I guess I have to check that this is a template campaign, and I think I have to create more options, right?
Yeah, that's right. You got it. So that's exactly right. So let's do this. We'll name this, web lead response 1. And we'll save that. And then if we go back to templates, you see there it is in my list of templates, and I can go here and say clone and edit.
Okay.
And so that makes a copy. So I maybe want to change this to web lead response 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I go in here and, change the design of the template however you want. Whatever. Save that and do it again. Create the 3rd one and the 4th one and the 5th one and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got our templates created. Now the last part there's 2 more pieces to connecting it to your form and automating the follow-up. First is we got to create the form. So if you go to forms, here you have 2 different options. If you already have a form on your site, then we can connect to that. Or if you don't have a form yet, then you can build it in SalesNexus and publish it on your website.
Okay.
So let's look at both of those. So I go up here to the plus, and I can say use existing form or create new form. So we'll go ahead, and the process is kind of the same, other than when you're using your existing form, you don't have to, create the fields in the first place. They're already there. Let's create a new one though, assuming that you're starting from 0. So we'll create a new form, and we'll give it a name. And choose the domain, the website that form's going to be on. Redirect URL, you don't really need to put that in unless you want to. And then when the lead comes in, which user on your team do you want to assign it to? You can choose that here in this little drop down. So I'm going to just choose myself. And you see it's given me a little starter form. Over here on the right, we're using that same editor that we were using for the emails, but it just has this new additional element here called form. When I click into this starter form, I get all the controls for the form part of it. And you can see down here, manage fields. This is where I add more fields to that form. So if I want it to be first name, last name, email, company, and phone number, for instance, right? First of all, I'm going to take this email and drag it down so it comes after the first and last name. And then here under add new field, you should be able to click that and
add a phone number.
Yeah, add the phone number field, exactly. Yep.
And less is more, right? So we don't need to put a lot of information here. It's just for the person to provide, their name, phone number, email, and after that we go after them with the email, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point that you're making. You will get more forms submitted, or more leads, in other words, if you ask for less information. So what, in the case where you really need to have a lot of information, what you can do is maybe create a short form like this, and then it goes to a second form where they provide more information. So at least you'll get everybody's basic contact information, and some people will submit all the additional information. Once you got your form set up the way you want it, just a couple other things while we're here. You scroll down a little bit. This is where you can control the colors and all of that, to make it fit your color scheme on your website and so on. And then when you're done, you just save it, and it takes you back here. And then you want to say publish, and it gives you this JavaScript that you can just copy by clicking right there. And then you want to go to your website and paste that into the page where you want that form to appear. Depends on what website platform you're in as to how that will really work. But usually there's a way to, like if you're in a WordPress builder like Elementor or something like that, there's a element that you can bring into your page that's a code element, and then you just paste that JavaScript into there and publish the page, and you're done. And now your form's on the site. And once that's done, you're ready to roll. Now the data, when you start filling it out, you'll see it here. So when you're on forms, you can go to view submissions, and you'll see all the data that's come in through that form. One of the things that I recommend is you want to make it set up so that it automatically puts maybe a field like lead source equals to my website or something like that. So you can also do lookups based on that. Just kind of makes life easy. But so now we got our form, we got our emails. Now we just want to automate the follow-up, right? So we would go here to goals, and this is where we'll create what we call a pipeline or a process. So we'll create a new one. And then here, let's call it lead follow-up sequence, including email, auto responders, and sales calls. And I put in that description because when you hit AI recommend, it's going to try and build it for you.
And I should say that as a sales or as a marketing? It was like
well, the main distinction is if you want to just send emails and automated messages, then make it a marketing funnel, or marketing pipeline. if you want to if you also want to be able to trigger sales calls and things like that, like alerts for you to call them, then you want to make it a sales funnel. Okay, so there it's analyze my description and making some recommendations. So I say apply now, and there you go. It's created a pipeline for me. And if you want, you can change these by just hitting edit here, or you can just build it from scratch by hitting new stage here and create your own stages. But now each stage, I can come in here and hit settings and then say, you know, when an opportunity is moved to this stage, then I want to send an email. And then here in this little drop down where it says template, that's where we're going to see all the emails that we've created.
Okay.
And you can preview it and you can create new ones from here. So you could do this the opposite sequence. You could go here and build out your pipeline and then just click here to edit the template or create a new one. You see right here it says create new template, and then it takes you to the editor to build one. So that's up to you, whatever sequence you think makes the most sense. But you choose your email, and then you say add trigger, and it adds it in here. In this case, it actually put these things in here for me when the AI designed it for me, right? Mm-hmm. So I can go in here to the task and say, you see how this is set up? When the opportunity is stalled in this stage after 24 hours, then create a task. Well, maybe you don't want to wait for 24 hours, right? You want to change this to when the opportunity is moved to that stage. So when it's brand new, then, and I'm going to change it to schedule a call. And you can put in here new web lead first call or whatever, you know, and it's due on the first day. And then update trigger. And so now that's going to automatically show up on your task list when somebody fills out that form. And then what you would do is probably, let's take this extra one out of here, and then let's create a new one. And we'll say, you could say something like, when the contact clicks the email, or when the call happens, right? So when you actually make that call, then I want to move them to the next stage, right? So I'll just add that in. And so now it's going to send them the email, tell you to call them. And when you call them, it moves them to the next stage, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go here to the next stage in the pipeline and you do the same thing again and set up, you know, additional triggers to send your email or remind you to call again or whatever's appropriate.